Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Joe, your cooking guide. On my channel, I like to break down a variety of different cooking techniques, walk through some pretty cool recipes, and along the way, share some tips and tricks to give you the tools to have more fun in your own kitchen. So with that being said, our recipe for today is we're going to do a really nice, simple grilled turkey tenderloin, a fresh corn succotash, and some spicy braised kale. So within that recipe, we have 3 different techniques that we're going to walk through. So stick around, you're going to enjoy this recipe. So what I want to do now is just kind of walk through some of the ingredients for our recipe today. So one, we have some turkey tenderloins, and these came marinated in a rotisserie seasoning. So we're going to kind of keep it pretty simple, a little salt and pepper. And then for our kale, we just have some chopped kale, and when I purchased this from the store, it had some ribs, some thicker ribs, and I just pulled most of those out. And then with the kale, we have some chopped shallots. This is approximately 5 shallots that I just sliced down. Roasted garlic, and this is roasted garlic that I actually used in a previous recipe. Some red pepper flakes, and a little bit of tomato product. And this is just a simple tomato puree. For our corn, I just have some corn that you can see I just stripped off the cob. And this is cooked corn. Took it off the cob with a knife and just shaved it down. And there's some bigger pieces, but once we saute it, those will all break down. And then also for the succotash, we have some chopped onion. This is half of a large onion. This is 1 green pepper that's diced up, a little chopped garlic, and then for herbs, we have a little bit of chopped thyme and a little bit of parsley. So what we're going to do is we're going to move over to the stove, and we're going to start with our kale and succotash. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start making our kale. So I just preheated our pan a little bit. I'm going to put in a little bit of olive oil. And always ensure that we get that olive oil, move it around, coat the bottom of the pan, right? And then we're just going to take our shallots and throw in our shallots, right? Get a little sizzle going on with our shallots there, right? Just move those around. I'm going to add a good pinch. That's probably, I would say, maybe half a teaspoon of some red pepper flakes. I like my kale a little spicier, so I added in a few more red pepper flakes. And as always, we're going to season each layer. So a little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper. Beautiful. Okay, we're just going to move those around. And you see those shallots are barely starting to color, right? And that's exactly what we want, right? So we want to just saute these for maybe another 10 seconds or so, right? And then we're going to add in a little bit of tomato product, right? And this is just a little bit of puree, right? I'm going to say that's what I put, 4 or 5 tablespoons. And then we're also going to add in our roasted garlic. And the roasted garlic, all I did was took the cloves and just chopped them up a little finer, almost into a paste, right? Combine the two, take some of that garlic and just start smashing that out a little bit. Very nice. The smell of that, as soon as that roasted garlic hits the pan, is just really, really fantastic. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll take some of our kale, and it looks like a lot of kale, but you'll see it'll wilt down pretty quickly. All right, so we'll put our kale in. You know, one piece kind of runs away there a little bit, not a problem. All right, so I'm actually just going to pile this up. Okay, let's get all the kale in there. Right, there we go. And then, to provide a little steam, we're going to put in a little bit of vegetable stock, right? And you can hear that. That's exactly what we want. All right, again, this is how I did it. You just take it off, snip the rib off, get rid of that. Okay, so while this kale is starting to break down a little bit, we're going to start heating up our pan for our succotash, right? So what we'll do, let this kale kind of break down a little bit, and we're just going to do a quick switch, right? So the kale goes there, and we move the other pan, and then again, we're going to do the same thing. Heat it up, a little bit of olive oil. We're going to put in our onions. And that's what you want to hear. When you're sauteing, you want to have a hot pan, and you want to hear that little sizzle when it drops. If we were sweating, I would start with a cold pan, a little bit of olive oil, and then slowly bring the temperature up. Right, so the onions, the peppers, we're just going to toss that around. And sauteing is to jump around, right? And that's what we're doing in the pan, right? As always, we're going to season, salt, fresh ground pepper, perfect. And then we're going to add in a little bit of our chopped garlic, right? And that's about, I would say that's about 3 cloves of chopped garlic. Okay, and again, just kind of move that around a little bit, right? And you always want to hear that sizzle, right? So if you need to, you add a little bit more oil, right? And while this is going, what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate our corn, right? So we have our corn, and like I said, I mean, if you just take your spoon, you can break it up, but we're actually going to do it in the pan. Right, so we just take our corn that we stripped from the cob, and what we want to do is add in a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper, okay, and then just take your spoon and just start breaking it up. And you see how easily all the kernels just break apart. Okay. And if there's some bigger pieces in there, I'm kind of cool with that, right? I just think it adds a little bit extra texture. It gives the dish a nice look, and you can see how lovely that is looking right there, right? So we're just going to keep moving that around, and that's looking fantastic, right? What we're going to do is just kind of switch over real quick, and let's check on our kale. Right, so you can see the kale now is just starting to simmer away. It's really wilted down. And what we're looking for on the kale is we really want to reduce off the majority of that liquid. And what we're going to be left with is just going to be some really nice tender kale with the red pepper flakes. Going to give it a nice spice. Right, so we're going to let that just kind of chill for a little bit. Our corn is looking great. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to let that corn just chill out for a little bit, and we're going to move on to our turkey. So you can see now, after about 3 minutes, the kale really wilts down, and you saw that entire bowl that we had of kale. It really wilts down to probably about 3 cups. All right, so what we're going to do, season with a little bit of salt. Okay, a little bit of black pepper. And now this is where the braising piece comes in. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in a little bit more vegetable stock. And I'm going to say about a cup or so, right? And we're just going to take that and now just let it simmer, right? I'll put a lid on it, move it off to the side. Okay, so now we're going to move into the final component of our dish, and that's the turkey tenderloin. And all we're going to do here is, because as I mentioned earlier, these I purchased marinated in some rotisserie seasoning. So all we want to do, a little bit of salt, and then I am going to add a little bit of pepper once we get it into the pan, right? So the pan I'm using today, it's a little chilly outside, so I can't fire up the barbecue, but we're just going to use a really cool grill pan, right? So I started preheating that, put a little bit of oil, and just kind of shake that around a little bit. And then we're going to take our turkey tenderloins and just start laying them down. Okay, there we go. Okay, and while they're chilling out there, we're going to take the opportunity to season the other side. Right, really nicely. Make sure we get all areas of it. Perfect. And then a little bit of black pepper. What we're going to do is just let that turkey start getting some nice color and some grill marks. And then I'm going to show you another little tip to get some really cool marks on your turkey or any meat or protein that you're grilling, right? Whether you decide to do it on your grill outside or if you're going to use an indoor grill pan, right? So we want to just keep checking, right? So I put these on an angle. So if you see the direction of the grates here on the pan, I put that on an angle, right? And so what we're going to do in order to get those really cool little pattern on there is we're going to take it, we're going to lift it, and we're just going to put it in the other direction, right? And I'm just going to take this piece and do the same. Okay? And we're just going to let those brown and get some of the color on the other side. In the meantime, let's check on our kale. Kale is looking very nice. Kind of move that around just a little bit. Fantastic. Okay, turkey. Now what we're going to do is you can see those really cool marks on there. Right? Look at that. Is that not pretty cool? And then because we didn't put black pepper on this side yet, we're going to go ahead and do that. And then we're going to take this turkey tenderloin and we're going to pop it in a 350 oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. So let's go ahead and do that. Then we're going to take our turkey. And you can see when that came out of the oven how nice. And that was about 13, 14 minutes in the oven. And what we're going to do then is just take our turkey onto the board, and I let that rest for about 5-6 minutes. And you can see there's some of the juice that came out of the turkey during the cooking process, and we're going to end up using that in a little bit for the final plate up. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to start plating this up. So we have our plate. We're going to first get a few slices of our turkey, right? And I just like to kind of cut the end off. We can definitely use that. And cut this into some bigger slices, right? For this plate, we'll probably do 4 nice slices, right? Just kind of move that off to the side. And then we'll start plating it up. And no real order, any way that you like, right? So we'll lay down some of our kale. Man, this just smells absolutely amazing, right? I would say that's a good portion there. Take some of our corn, and I'm just going to put the corn off to the side. There you go. Again, that just no real order or design here. Just lay that down, and then we'll just take some of the turkey that we sliced and just lay that over the top and just kind of fan it out real simply, right? And you can kind of put it on a slight angle. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to take some of that pan juice from the turkey just with a little spoon. Just grab some of that and just go right over the top. There you go. That's beautiful, right? And just enough to seep into that turkey, and then just kind of get around the corn and the kale. And there you have it. That is our grilled turkey tenderloin with some spicy braised kale and a nice corn succotash. Thanks for joining me tonight. Hope you enjoyed this recipe and learned something new about a few different techniques. We did some sauteing with our corn succotash, with the onions and the peppers. We braised our kale with a little bit of the red pepper flakes and some shallots. And then we used our indoor grill pan for the turkey tenderloin. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.